Thanks everybody for being here. This is a Celebrate and Create crafting event for celebrating Hinduism and Diwali, which was last weekend, but we're doing it today because we can always use a little extra light in our lives, especially as it's getting darker and darker, earlier and earlier. My name is Robbie. I use he, him pronouns. I'm wearing a pink shirt. For those who can't see too well, I'm sitting in front of a plant and a trellis just in my living room. At Inform Your Community, we offer events that combine information with fun. You can visit us at www.informyourcommunity.org. You can find social media links at the bottom of our website. Tell your friends to sign up for our mailing list on the top right of our website. And of course, you can donate using the donate link at the top right of the page. Also, closed captioning is enabled. So you can click that down at the bottom of your Zoom. Understanding and appreciating Hinduism is important because Hinduism is the third largest religion in the world, with 1.2 billion Hindus worldwide. 9 out of 10 of them live in India. India has a huge population, but there are 2.2 million Hindus in the United States. So today's event is, like I said, Celebrate and Create. Children engage in unique craft projects inspired by monthly celebration themes. So today's craft, we're going to be making a lamp or a lantern to celebrate Diwali. So today, to help us discuss the topic of Hinduism is Kyle Ukes. Did I pronounce that right, Kyle?
Yes, you did.
Welcome, Kyle.
Thank you.
Before you introduce yourself, I'm just going to say, from what I understand, you've been practicing Hinduism for over a decade, and you've studied various schools of thought within Hinduism. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Cool. I've been really fascinated by Hindu mythology and Hindu astrology. It's like really crazy stories and cool symbolism throughout it. So I'd love to pick your brain about that sometime. But throughout the craft, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to unmute yourself, talk or write in the chat. We love to see your work in progress, so feel free to show us on your camera when it's complete. And I'll be monitoring the chat. I also have a friend in the audience helping me monitor the chat. And with us helping craft today is a new Stacy. Not that new, but it's not the normal Stacy that we're used to. Hi, Stacy.
Hi everyone.
Tell us about the craft.
Thanks so much. As Robbie mentioned, my name is also Stacy. My pronouns are she and her. I am a white female with brown hair, brown curly hair, and I'm wearing a brown shirt with a gray background. So today's craft is a lamp for Diwali. Diwali is also known as the Festival of Lights and is a holiday celebrated by 95% of Indian American Hindus. The lights celebrate goodness that triumph over darkness. I think this is a common theme in a few different religions and spiritual beliefs. And I love the symbolism here with the lights and wanted to share it with our crafters today. So let's get started with our lamp, which will also bring some light to all of us in the event today. So we're going to start with our materials. All of the crafters today are going to need a pair of scissors, and you can absolutely use safety scissors based on the age. And if you don't have our kit, you can quickly grab some of the items you're going to need today. A toilet paper roll, that's going to be cut in half. A few different types of ribbons. So anything, if you have yarn in the home, you can use yarn. So anything that you have for decoration. If you don't have any ribbon or yarn, you can take construction paper and cut it into strips, about 6 inches long, would be helpful. You're going to also need some cardstock. So if you have cardstock, just something that's a little thicker than a piece of loose leaf paper because it's going to be used as a base. And if you don't have cardstock, actually, if you have a card, just like maybe a greeting card that you have laying around, you can use the back of it, to cut out the base as well. We're going to need some tape. Oop, where'd I go? There. And glue, preferably a glue stick, but white glue will also work. You're just going to use a little less of it. A pen or pencil. Let's see. Markers are optional. Again, that's just for decorations based on how you want to decorate your lamp. And if you have some crafting jewels, which I have here, again, those will be used for decorations. And if you do have a battery operated tea light, that is battery operated for safety. So safety tip, never use a real candle with a paper craft. So you just have to, especially a craft like this one. And if you don't have the tea light at home with you, you can always add that later when you go shopping. Let's see, our materials in our craft kit, if you received our kit in advance, we're going to go through what's in the kit. So if you have received the box, inside, you will find our business card. And there's always a funny joke on the back of the card. So this one says, why did the calendar have such a great attitude? And the answer is, it was taking life one day at a time. So also along in the kit, you'll have some information cards about the organization, Inform Your Community. So there's some information there about us. And you have the infographic, which has some great history and facts on Hinduism for you to read. And so you, inside the kit, you'll have, we're going to open up our kit. So if you have the kit, let's open it up and we'll take it out. You will see that there is, I'm just going to put the contents right into the box. So there's the battery operated tea light. Excuse me, sorry. You have 2 plastic bases and some blue netting. And you have 5 ribbons of different colors. You can see inside my box. Give me 1 minute. So these are all for decoration. And you'll see that there's differences in the ribbons here. There are 2, what we're going to call plain ribbons. And then you have a squiggly one and one for sequins, one with sequins, and a jeweled. So there are differences in how we're going to layer those. You have 3 strips that look like paper. They're not really paper, but these do look like paper. They're actually double-sided tape. So these do come off, and we'll demonstrate how that works later. You have 2 jewel stickers, and that's going to be used for decorating. There's Velcro in here. You have 2 pieces of Velcro, and they do come off, but don't separate those just yet. And I think, did I miss something? Nope, that's all. So
I think that's it.
yes, that's it.
I wonder if now, while people are just making sure they're all set up, if Kyle would introduce himself and maybe give us a couple of foundational pieces of Hindu knowledge.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So, the Vedas are the oldest scripture in Hinduism, passed down orally until written in Vedic Sanskrit between 1500 and 500 BC. But these texts are considered by some to be timeless and divine. The mandir is a Hindu place of worship, also known as a temple, and reincarnation is part of Hinduism. Is part of the Hinduism belief. Reincarnation occurs after death when the eternal soul moves onto a new body.
Wow.
Thank you so much. We are learning already. Thanks for that information, Kyle. And some of these sound familiar, similar to religions that I'm frankly a little familiar with. For example, Christian religions tend to also have a specific place of worship, like a church that has sacred scriptures, like the Bible, and have beliefs about what happens to our souls after we die. In my family, I was raised Catholic myself. So Kyle, can you tell us how you came to practice Hinduism?
Sure. Well, it all started in 2012 when I received a copy of Ram Dass's book, Be Here Now, and started to practice yoga around the same time. From there, I started to dive into other books about Hinduism while starting a meditation practice. Did you know that most Hindus, almost half of them, 44%, feel closest related to the deity Shiva? But personally, I feel closest to the deity Vishnu. But enough about me. I think our crafters want to get started on making this amazing lamp.
That is a great point. Yes, so we are going to start creating our lamp. So if you have our kit, you will have two potential plastic bases here. So what you do have to decide first, this is a primary step, and these are fragile and they can break very easily. So just be careful with these. So there's a few different varieties of how this can be used. So pick the piece that you want to put your candle inside of. So you can use the deeper part of this base. So when it's finished, your candle can sit like that. If you'd like, you can have it sit on top. You can use this piece as a base so they can sit this way together. You can use this as a stand also. So you can do it like that. So if you have enough material to even decorate the base, if you're going to use this as the primary, we're going to start with this piece. So again, decide which two pieces you're going to attach, because this is where we're going to put our Velcro. So once you decide that, I'm going to actually use for myself as I'm crafting, I'm going to use this, and I plan to put the candle inside the base like that. So I'm going to take a Velcro piece, and you can see here that there's a shiny piece on there. So I'm going to just peel off one side so that I can feel the sticky side. And I'm going to place that on the bottom of my candle. Right, like that. Okay. And I'm going to peel off the other sticky side. And I'm now going to attach that, I think, to the inside of my lamp. So you can see now it sticks. And when I pull the candle off, actually, sorry, Velcro is very sticky, as you can see. Yeah. So I'm going to take this out because I want to actually be able to push this in place here. Okay, so you all have that. And if you are going to use the stand, if you're making the stand, you would take the other piece, the other Velcro piece, and do the same thing. So again, if you want the candle to stick there, or put it on the other side, on the bottom of where the candle's going to be. I actually like this as a stand, so I'm going to put my other Velcro piece here. So I'm going to unstick that and place that there. And it's easier to peel this apart, as you can see. So we can take the Velcro apart now. And I'm going to place the other sticky side on the bottom of my base. So I'll take that off and put it here, so that when I do have my candle and everything set, it's going to look like that. So this is going to hold the two pieces together. if you can all see that.
Okay.
And again, because they're Velcro, you can move them around later on if you decide that you want to change it up. So while you're working on that, let's go to those maybe that do not have the kit. So if you do not have the kit, you're working with a toilet paper roll, you're going to cut this in half, and you can eyeball it. So right in the middle, it's going to be about 2 inches in height. So you're going to have a cut toilet paper roll, and that's going to be your lantern. All right, what's the next step? So you're also the cardstock or any card that you're using for the base. You're going to take the toilet paper roll, and you essentially are going to make a circle around the cardstock. And then this is what you need your scissors for. You're going to be cutting this circle out. And if you need some help with this, you can ask an adult. So you can see that I've made a circle, and that's going to be cut. And all right, we're going to cut that out, and your tape is going to come. That's going to be the next thing that you're going to use. So you're going to cut this circle out. And if you don't have the cardstock, you know what also works is a tape cup. So if you do have a bathroom cup, you can use that also, because it does. You can stick that inside here, and have that as your base too. But sometimes that, you just have to be careful and play around. You may have to cut that, but the cardstock works well. So once you have your circle cut, then you're going to place that, if you can see that, over the top, and you're going to take your tape and cut a piece off. And it doesn't matter if your tape is bigger, because when you're decorating, you're going to cover the tape up. So you just essentially want to have this base sturdy. So we're going to place some tape in like all 4 sides so it stays nice and firm. So while our crafters work on this, Kyle, can you tell us some values that are associated with Hinduism?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Hinduism values who the person is, and so often talks about characteristics like being virtuous, which is a part of a bigger concept called dharma. And these basically talk about being a good person in our own behavior and how we treat others. Another value of Hinduism is selflessness in terms of serving and helping others. Ahimsa refers to the value of not causing harm to others physically, mentally, or emotionally. Forbearance or tolerance is also important. I can think back to when I was younger and how important these values were to me and the other kids in my school, even at a young age.
Yes, actually, that's great. Me too. These values are meaningful and fundamental to Hinduism. Another idea that is foundational to Hinduism, that it's a pluralistic religion. So Hindus won't necessarily talk about it using that word, but it basically means that in Hinduism, there is an acknowledgement that many religions may be true or coexist rather than being one true religion. Thank you for sharing those important values. And we're going to move on to step 2. And I'm going to warn our crafters that this is going to be the hardest step in the craft. So we're going to be covering the limb. So the piece that's going to be your primary, where the light is going to go, you're going to take for those that have our kit, you're going to take your paper strips, and I'm going to show you on this camera because you can see it a little better. So if you have nails, it kind of comes in handy, and I can show you here too. So you just have to work with this and try and peel off, not both sides, but one side. And maybe I should have pre-done this so we weren't sitting here trying to see me struggle too. So you can see how it comes off. It helps if you bend one corner a little bit, and then you're just gonna peel the whole thing off, and you can feel that it's sticky. And this actually could be difficult. It doesn't matter which side you're peeling off because there's stickiness on both sides. So if you're working on your fine motor skills, then and if this is difficult, absolutely you can use glue. And you can use the stick glue or dots of glue. Just don't overuse the liquid glue. If you don't have our kit, you will follow along also using glue instead of double-sided strips. So you're going to take your glue stick and you're going to put glue around the top of the toilet paper roll, the paper roll. And then if you're using the plastic piece, you're going to take the sticky part and put it at the highest point. So you're going to get it level. Is it easier to see over here? I feel like for this, because it's clear, this might work better. So you're going to stick this right at the edge of the top and get it sticky so that it sits right there like that. And you're just going to follow it along the whole top. And you can tell when you're going maybe around a corner, it bunches a little bit, or anywhere that you start to see it like buckle or bubble. Don't worry about that. You can just flatten it. So you'll have some wrinkles in it, and that's okay. So just get it to go nice and around all the way on the top, and it should meet. Okay. And just get that. I'm just kind of going around the top and sealing it. And then what you're going to do is find your other end, and you're going to, this one comes off so much easier now. You're going to take the other side off entirely and just undo it. Comes off so nice. So now it's very sticky. You may want to hold it at the bottom. So this is where your netting is going to come in. You're going to take your netting and attach the blue netting to the sticky part around the whole top of the lamp. So again, get the edge of the netting right to the top and just follow it around. And we're going to press it firmly as we're going around.
Hey,
All around.
Stacey,
Yes.
while the crafters are working on that, do you mind if I share a little history with everyone?
Not at all. Please do.
Well, more than 2,500 years ago, in what would be called 500 BCE, was when various Hindu practices were consolidated and formalized, and Hindu temples began to be built. 2,500 years ago was a long, long time, but the first major temple in North America wasn't built for about another 2,400 years in 1906 in San Francisco. And in just under 100 years later than that, in the year 2000, only 23 years ago, was the first time a Sanskrit prayer was spoken in a joint session of Congress. Christian prayers had been said in Congress long before that.
Thank you so much for that history, Kyle. We're still working. Let's see, we're gonna head to our craft still. So you should have your blue netting all the way around now, and some glue if you're using paper. And if you would now also take one of your plain ribbons, one of the plain ones that don't have edging on it, and you're going to take that and put that across the top as well, if you can see. And don't worry, there's plenty of glue and stickiness to this. So you're just going to press firmly and go all the way around the top. And any excess, you can see there's some excess piece here. We're just going to cut that off. right there. And any parts that's sticking up later on, you can take glue and put that down and press that down. Now for those working with paper, you can take a plain piece too, and you're going to go around the top of your paper roll where you put the glue and go around the top. Just like that. And we're going to cut our excess. So there you have that. And we should have our plastic base. Let me get my bearings, I'm sorry. So next piece is actually for those that do have our kit, you'll see some of the netting is hanging over maybe the bottom. So take that and just tuck it under. If that's difficult or you don't like the way that looks, feel free to cut it off too. So you can see how you're just tucking it under.
Are you just kind of like rolling it under itself?
Yeah, I'm kind of just doing my best to tuck it. Yep, right, like under. And it should stay. But again, sometimes if it starts to undo itself, you know, maybe the best thing is to cut it off, whichever you prefer. Essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take another piece of double-sided paper and we're going to place it around kind of like the middle area. So as you're tucking the netting, the double-sided tape, the second strip is going to be there and it'll grasp it. It'll help to hold that on. So I'm just trying to get my second piece here to undo. And now I have glue on my fingers, so it's a little harder. And so we're just going to take that and put it somewhere in the middle and just start there as well, just going around. And we do have to press firmly because now this is going through netting as well. So if you can see here, I'm just pressing firmly as I'm going around. And then when I get to where it meets, I'm going to take it off and try to lay it over itself where you started. And then we're just going to unstick it. Oops. And that might happen because it overlaps. It might start to take off some of itself, which you don't want to happen. Okay. So pick not a plain ribbon, but one of the other 3 pieces, the decorative pieces that you have. And that's going to go here on the next sticky side that you have. So I took my squiggly ribbon and I'm going to place that around. And there's a little bit of excess, so I'm going to cut that off so it's not hanging. So if you're working with the paper craft, continue on with glue around the middle and take another one of your ribbons if you'd like to decorate anything that you have at home that you've chosen to decorate your craft with. You can start to decorate even if you have markers, your favorite stickers. You can feel free to decorate the paper. And this, I'm just reinforcing the sticky and going around there with that. Okay. Now, if you chose to work with a base, you have one more piece of double-sided tape in the kit. So you can repeat that last piece of sticky tape on your base and choose one of the ribbons that you have left. This can be a little difficult. Do any crafters want to share with us what they have so far? No? Okay. All right, so I'm going to now stick this around kind of the middle part of the base. And so you can see that basically from what we've done so far, we're going to stick a decorative ribbon on there. And when you're working with a square, you can see it definitely buckles a little bit, but again, you're just going to press firmly down. And then peel that off all the way around. And I like the purple sequin, so I'm going to choose that and go around the base. So there's my base. So while our crafters are making decisions on ribbons and where to put which colors and options, Kyle, can you tell us a little bit about Gandhi? Our crafters may have heard the name, but maybe not know about him.
Sure. Well, Mahatma Gandhi was Hindu and is celebrated for his peaceful protest techniques from the 1920s in India. One of these is what's known as a non-participation campaign. As part of this civil disobedience, he asked people, for example, to boycott foreign goods and elections, which means not using them or taking part in them. The idea was to protest against the government without causing anyone harm, while still making a meaningful impact that the government couldn't ignore.
That's powerful and effective. I'm sure some crafters on this call who have tried protesting, maybe their parents, may know a little of how hard it is to do that successfully. Well, before we have some protests here, let's move on to our final step, which hopefully by now you can see how decorative and beautiful your lamp has become. And here's my paper. Okay, so using some of the decorative jewels. So if you notice that any of the ribbon didn't like fit around, maybe it was here, or you don't like the way something bunched in one area, you can, so like right here in my blue ribbon overlapped. So I'm going to take one of my jewels and cover that part up. So you can take out one of your jewels and it's sticky on the other side, so nice and easy. And I'm just going to cover that little part right there. And whether you're using ours or you have some elements or sequins of your own, you can do the same. So I have here a sticky heart. So I'm going to cover where that meets. Sorry, right there. So now we're also, one of the items in your kit looks like this. So in there, it's metal leaf. It looks like aluminum foil. We're going to take it out, and this is very delicate. So if you have, for those that have never worked with something called leafing or a metal leaf, it's very, as you can see, it's very delicate. If you have a fan on or any pets in the house, this blows away very easily. So just be very careful with it. And for those that don't have our kit, feel free to keep decorating your paper however you'd like. If you have markers, you can draw pictures on it and to your desire. So this is very fragile, as you can see. So choose an area that is still sticky. I'm going to say, like, let's stick to the bottommost portion with the leafing, because once you're, once you have it in the base, you're really going to accent with the metal around more the middle part. And there's not really, this needs some stickiness to attach to, and you've really covered the top part with some ribbon. So you're going to stick the metal leaf. Can you see where I'm putting that? So you're really going to cover, really. Maybe I'll go over here. And you see how it's falling apart on me. So with leafing, you really just place it and you just start to rub it. You just rub it into place, and it's going to attach to all the parts that it feels some stickiness to. And you see how some pieces are flying away. So I would imagine if you had a cat nearby, or someone, I don't believe it's harmful, but just, and you can see how we're just rubbing this in. And even those little flyaway pieces, feel free to grab them and take them and just place them around. So this excess piece fell here. I'm going to take it. See, it's flying. And we're just going to rub this in. So leafing is just a technique of rubbing this very fine foil type, and it gives it a nice decorative feel after, as you can see. And it's nice and shiny. So those that maybe don't like to work with glitter, because that gets everywhere, this is another option for you. So you're just gonna really repeat and rub that in all the way around. So for those that have our kit, and you can see that. So I'm going to, for me, I'm going to cut the excess piece of netting around the bottom, since I do plan to put it on a base. Do any of our crafters want to share their progress?
Anybody have any questions?
So that's basically our craft. Like I said, I have that like that, and I do have my candle. I'm gonna turn that on and stick that in.
Wow, that is such a cute craft. It was fun to talk about Hinduism with you all today.
So glad you can join us, Kyle. Okay, Robbie, I think we're ready for you to conclude the event for us.
Okay, well, thank you everyone, especially Stacy for your excellent crafting and Kyle for your Hinduism knowledge. And thanks to our wonderful crafters. I hope you enjoyed making your little lantern to bring some light. It's interesting how it's similar, right, to the way Hanukkah is a festival of lights coming up soon, and then Christmas, we use a lot of lights to decorate a tree, and it's sort of interesting how all over the world people were trying to bring light into their homes during this darker period of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. We will be sending out a recording of this video and our infographic in a follow-up email that includes our information for further reading. We encourage you to share it with others and consider committing to an action relating to this over the coming weeks. Coming to this event is a great start. You can practice saying Happy Diwali, even though it passed, it was last week, but you can practice for next year, which will take place on, I think it's taking place on Halloween next year. That'll be cool. We'll have 2 holidays to celebrate. You can read about different people and their associations with Hinduism, like Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi, Sundhu V, George Harrison, who was a Beatle. He was in the band The Beatles. He was a practicing Hindu in his later years. You can also look up Mirabai and figure out why she matters to Hinduism. Mirabai. Our email will also include a brief survey of what you thought of the event. Take time to respond. Your feedback is important to us. I'm also going to launch a quick poll here. Let's see, here's the poll. I'm launching it. It's different questions than in the survey. There's only a couple of them. If you could please take a moment to complete this, or an adult with you can help. Our upcoming Celebrate and Create event is celebrating Hanukkah, where we're going to be celebrating a different festival of lights. We're going to make wax candles. That's coming up Saturday, December 2nd, also at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. To look for and learn about more great Inform Your Community events, we have movie events, we have shopping events, we have all kinds of events at informyourcommunity.org. We have an adult crafting event in our Craftivism program that's about houselessness. That's on November 30th. We're going to teach you how to finger knit. And please consider donating. We're a nonprofit. Your donation helps to cover the cost of mailing the materials, the craft supplies, the movie licensing, etc. Thank you all so much for coming today, and inform your communities based on what you learned today.